Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2009 Volleyball in Perspectives. I'm your host, Kevin Barnett. I'm pleased to be joined by 2004 bronze medalist Holly McPeak and 2009 inductee. Holly, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Holly, you began playing volleyball at a very early age. Who was it that influenced you, or how did you come to the game?
Well, I grew up in Manhattan Beach, California, and that's what you do every weekend. And all summer long, you go to the beach. And my parents divorced at an early age, so my dad would drag us to the beach when we were 9, 10 years old and drag us to beach volleyball tournaments, and I fell in love at an early age.
You've had an incredibly long career, played for many, many years, seen a lot of different aspects of volleyball, and I'm sure have a lot of great stories. Are there any that stick out in particular?
Ooh, gosh. Not really. I mean, I've seen and played volleyball in so many different parts of the world in front of so many different crowds. I remember playing in Jakarta, Indonesia, in bikinis, and it's a Muslim country. So it was a little interesting. Only men in the crowd, but there were 2 monkeys that were like pets that were sitting in the crowd, and we just thought that was incredible. So that was kind of something that stuck out in my mind. But, you know, there's just so many great stories in so many different places we played volleyball.
Who's been the greatest influence upon you as a beach volleyball player?
Oh, the greatest influence. That's hard to say. I grew up watching the best, Karch and St. John. It was mostly men at that time. Women's beach volleyball didn't get bigger until later, but Nina Matthews, one of my favorite beach volleyball players who, when I was in high school, was somebody I really looked up to, was Judy Belamo. I thought she was the type of player that I wanted to be. She was fearless. Unfortunately, we lost her at a young age, and she was gone before I actually started playing professionally on the beach.
Playing so long, you came up and you probably played against a lot of the women you just mentioned, and then you became the woman that players wanted to play with. What did you see as your role in mentoring so many new players? There were a lot of players that got their first victory with you on the tour. Talk a little bit about mentoring young players and being a part of developing the sport.
It's funny, when I started playing, I just got to the point where I knew I could win with anybody. And it's a great feeling as an athlete. And obviously everybody wanted to beat me, but I was so confident and at the top of my game, I felt like I could pretty much win with everybody. So as my career progressed, I became more of a mentor, more of a teacher, and was able to kind of bring young players under my wings and help make them great, or at least kind of push them in the right direction. They were already fantastic athletes. They did the hard work. I just helped show them the ropes. And, I'm very lucky to play with some of the best. Elaine Youngs, Misty May, Nicole Branna. Nancy Reno was a fantastic athlete. She was more my peer when I was at my prime.
When you got the news that you were going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, talk about some of the emotions or reactions that you had.
Kind of shock. I mean, it's like, really, me? Are you sure? I mean, I don't know. I feel like I had a great career. I did the best that I could, but I don't feel like I'm anything special. I just went out there and played a sport that I love, and, so to be honored for that is pretty great.
What do you think the future of beach volleyball is? How do you see it progressing?
I'll tell you, the future of beach volleyball is pretty fantastic, just in terms of seeing the international scene. So many countries playing beach volleyball, really embracing it. Every time you see the Summer Olympic Games, beach volleyball is a hit, and it's bigger and better every summer of the Olympic Games. And it's just going to continue to expand. It's a great sport. I just hope that domestically in all these different countries, we can see growth, because that's long-term. That provides long-term future for a sport. So I'd like to see in all these countries domestic tours, and so they're not just traveling outside the country to compete in beach volleyball.
What changes would you make to the game, or what would you like to go back to, things that perhaps were in the game before that if you were in charge you would alter?
Well, back in the day we used to have a big court, and I could, with my ball control, my speed, I could really make those big girls run. Now they don't have to run so much. The court's smaller. The antennas obviously made the court even smaller as well. Basically that. I don't really want to change the sport, but those were fun days with the big court. I wish they'd stop messing with the ball. They keep changing the ball every 4 years. Stop messing with the ball. And this year I hear they have a new one and it's not so good. So, just keep it the same. I think rally score has actually been a good thing. It's now a game who makes the least amount of errors. And there's a lot of pressure to be an aggressive server, but you can't miss. So I think I like the game the way it is right now.
Describe yourself as a player. What were your strengths, weaknesses?
Well, it's funny. I wasn't the best at any one skill, but I was pretty solid all around. Probably defensive, that defense was my signature whatever, my trait on the court. But I was just feisty. I wanted to win, and I would do whatever it took to win. I remember playing in a final in Long Beach with Nancy Reno, and we were up 13-2, I think. And she dug the ball into the crowd, and I dove after it and got a huge welt on my leg. But for me, it was worth it. And she's like, "Why are you doing that? We're killing them." I'm like, "It doesn't matter. I want to win, and I want to make the play." So, I just love competing, and I did whatever I could do to maximize what I had, and that's the type of player I was.
So this is not the end of the road for you, but perhaps the beginning of something else. What's your message as you depart the sport as a player?
I just think believe in yourself. Don't let people limit what you can do, and finding a way to get the most out of what you have. I wasn't the tallest player. I wasn't the quickest player. I didn't jump the highest, but I maximized what I had, and I think that's a good message to anybody in whatever field you're in.
Well, congratulations on your induction, and hope you enjoy the ceremony.
Thank you.
All right. The Volleyball in Perspectives 2009. It's a pleasure to be surrounded by so many of these great players.